Hi, Liz here, and we are at EMO's Creative Studio, where anything and everything you create is beautiful because you created it. So, you finish your project and you have a handful of scraps of fabric and you have a handful of scraps of batting. I know what to do with my scraps of fabric, but what about these things? I don't want to throw them away because they're just too big to throw away, and I'm trying to be economical. So, let me tell you what Frankenstein batting is. Pieces of batting that have been zigzagged together to make a big piece. Let's show you how it gets done. I collect my batting in large gallon freezer bags, and I've been working to zigzag my pieces together. See how I can, as you can see here, I have a bunch. I've already made a couple of long pieces, and I'm still continuing to put these pieces together. I've used different color thread, whatever's in my machine, to do this. Ideally, you should be using neutral colors, ivory, off-white, white, dove gray, light gray, to put your pieces together. I'm going to be very careful when I choose my batting to make sure that the batting that I've put together I use with darker toppers and darker backing. Now you see this little piece, this little guy right here? This little guy, I would say, would be too small to attach it. Why? Because you're going to have stitching all along four edges, and it's going to make it bulky. You're trying to create something that's not going to be bulky. I have two smaller pieces right here for demonstration, so you can see. Let me just pull you out just a little so you can see. Batting comes with a right side and a wrong side. And honestly, I can't remember right now what's the right side and wrong side, but all I want you to know is when you put your batting together, this has imprints, indentations in it, and this side does not. You want to match the same sides together like thus. Let's see, I think you can see that. The other thing I want you to remember is you don't have to square these pieces, but you do want to cut them so that they're straight, so that when you're butting them up together like that, see, butting them up together like that, they'll go together well so that you're not overlapping them. And you don't want to be overlapping your pieces because then it'll make a really thick seam, and you really don't want to do that. I've set my machine to 4.5 width of the stitch and 1.4 for the space of each stitch. Now, I have a foot that has a mark going down the center. So my two halves, I'm going to make sure that they are aligned up with that red mark. Put my needle down. I'm going to start it off a little bit on the slower side. Let's see if I can get it. And I'm going to try not to get my fingers in the way so that you can see it. All right, here we go. I'm making sure that my needle grabs each side of my batting, or each piece of my batting. And I want to make sure that the batting is butting up like this and not overlapping. Because remember, we don't want to make a seam, because we don't want added bulk to our batting. We certainly don't want to have a seam in between your topper and your liner, or backing, I should say. Take some concentration. I'm still not really good at making straight lines, so I've got to concentrate to make sure that these two halves, or the seam in the middle, is following the red mark on my walking foot is what I'm using. And we're almost done. I do not backstitch the beginning, and I do not backstitch the end. When you're putting together your pieces, you will be catching the threads to secure it. Now you can see here that I did a pretty good job. It got both pieces, they're together, there's no spaces. Let's see, let me get you. There's no spaces. Sorry, going up or down. This is a great way to save on batting. Now, me personally, I purchased a bolt of batting, and because I've been doing this Frankenstein batting, I purchased this bolt of batting maybe 3 going on 4 years ago. And I still have a little bit of batting left on the bolt. But doing this kind of procedure, saving the pieces of batting from my projects and sewing them together, has allowed me to conserve on my batting that's on the bolt. I really like this idea. Frankenstein batting. How appropriate for this time of the year. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was easy for you to understand. Listed below in the description box, you'll find the social media that I am on currently. You'll also find my email address if you want to send me an email. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so that you can be notified on my next video that I publish. Share with your friends. I'm Liz. We are at EMO's Creative Studio, where anything and everything you create is beautiful because you created it. Until the next time.